Hello, everyone, and welcome to Crossing Kin and Star Wars Month. We are neck deep in the midst of our month-long celebration of Star Wars, and as you can see, we have brought Dad's favorite nemesis back into the Crossing
I have a
Kin
very
garage.
bad feeling about this. It's back. It's fortunately Christy got me, prepared this time for this thing. Oh, welcome to Star Wars Month. May the Force be with you. I still have a very bad feeling about this.
As y'all can tell by our sorting hat, we are combining Star Wars Month with one of our my favorite. Daddy tolerates it because he hates my sorting hat. But our favorite series here on Cross and Kin, our sorting videos. Now, for those of you that aren't quite sure what that is, we take characters from various media and we sort them into the Harry Potter houses. Hogwarts. And those houses are Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin.
And she didn't trust me to remember all of that, so she got me a great handy dandy
cheat sheet. Today, the the cast that we are sorting are the Star Wars Rebels characters. We are going to be sorting the crew of the Ghost plus one bonus person who basically becomes part of the Ghost crew as the series goes on.
If you've watched any of our Star Wars films, you know that we have gotten such an affinity for the television show Rebels. And I think part of that lends, we've said it before, it lends back to the fact that it just is such a great gap filler for the original three films. The original three films set the pace, set the standard, and I think that's one of the reasons why the prequels as well as the sequels have gotten some criticism is because they strayed a little bit too far away from the formula that the three films set up. And let's face it, here at Crossing Here, we're very formulaic.
Another reason that we really, really love Star Wars Rebels is because of the characters. The family that forms on the Ghost, out of the Ghost crew is just honestly chef's kiss. I think they're some of the best characters in Star Wars, personally.
Well, Filoni did a great job of putting these guys together. And like any family, they have their quarrels, they have their discussions, they have their challenges. They're maturing as a family, as a group, as a knit group, and this propels the story along to get us to a point from Clone Wars, realistically, into the later Star Wars episode 4 and 5, I believe. So
as well as Rogue One, a little bit.
As well as Rogue One, it sets up a little bit well for Rogue One.
All right, so let's get on with our sorting. We are sorting everybody in the Ghost crew, including our favorite little maniac Chopper. Let's just list the characters we're sorting. We are sorting Kanan Jarrus, Hera Syndulla, Ezra Bridger, Sabine Wren, Garazeb Aurelius. We're just gonna call him Zeb because I really don't want to have to say that again. Chopper and Callus. So let's get started. Let's start with our favorite Spectre 1. Those are their code names. I didn't give that to him. That's their code name. With our favorite Spectre 1, Kanan Jarrus. Or Caleb Doom, if you want to use his actual name. All right. So he's our resident Jedi.
He survived Order 66 and comes on as just the titular father figure for the entire Ghost crew.
If you saw our first video of this year's Star Wars month, then you already know he made #1 on our top 10 Jedi list. Go see who he beat out for that. Like, Kanan's just the best. He's the dad to both Ezra and Sabine. He's Hera's husband. Big brother maybe to Zeb. Zeb's got a weird relationship. Like, you always classify Zeb as the weird uncle. Kanan and him are kind of brothers, but then there are times that Kanan's his dad too.
Yeah.
He and Chopper have this weird little relationship.
And he just the very few episodes that he is not the prime character fall a little short, I think.
The episodes where Kanan's not there as much,
yeah,
you feel his presence not being
right, and it's like it just the show doesn't it doesn't propel as well.
He was voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr., who did come back to voice him for The Bad Batch, and I believe he lent his face to a very small picture in Ahsoka that you can see on the dash of the Ghost when Hera is like doing her pre-flight checklist or
Which
whatever.
Ahsoka's Rebels season
Season 5.
5. Yeah, let's just face
As
it.
you've
I mean,
said
it's just
multiple times. We love
okay.
Kanan
Kanan,
a
we
lot.
gotta sort him.
So I already know where I
Out
want
the
to put him.
hat's help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Kanan's not here to put the hat on, so it wouldn't work. So I already know where I think he belongs. 3, 2, 1. Gryffindor.
Ravenclaw.
Really?
Yeah, wit, wisdom, creativity, individuality, eccentricity.
Okay, my reasoning for Gryffindor, the man freaking sacrifices himself for his loved one.
Fair point.
He is the Jedi. He's got a lot of nerve in the simple fact that he's actively stealing from the Empire on multiple occasions.
I would argue
he is very stubborn also. It is pulling teeth to actually get him to join the rebellion.
I would argue that the Sorting Hat would blow its top trying to figure out which one of these houses Kanan actually, because in reading these characteristics, he fits all of them.
At least one trait.
Equally well, I think. I think he fits. I think just because of his status as the father figure, that's why I put him in Ravenclaw.
And that's fine. Like we usually disagree a little bit on this, but
a little bit.
Here's my thing. I think Kanan would be one of those like Harry who actively asks what house to be in, and would. I mean, the Sorting Hat does take your opinion into consideration.
Okay.
And I feel like knowing Kanan, depending on what house Hera was in, he might be like, "Can I please go there?"
Yeah, right.
And like you said,
Fair.
he's got traits of each house, and I agree with that. I just think his Gryffindor traits are stronger personally.
Okay.
Let us know what y'all think. We love you. We love it when y'all break our ties.
I'ma think he's a Ravenclaw. She thinks he's a Gryffindor. Next character.
Hera Syndulla, the daughter of Champ Syndulla, who was the rebel of the Twi'lek people in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. This young lady grew up fighting.
She was in the rebellion before the rebellion
was a thing.
Yeah, she's her people have been involved at this level for years, and that's why the rebellion. It's so easy for her to trip over into. Joining up with the rebellion. It's because it's been her life.
Yeah, she is definitely the group mom. Like there are multiple times in this series, like when she's sending Sabine and Ezra and Zeb out on a mission, she'll go, "Okay, kids, make mom and dad proud."
Yeah, and
like, she actively knows they're a family. She actively knows that she and Kanan are adopting all of these children. Like I love her.
I think the most fun that I've ever seen with Hera though is with her and Chopper.
Yes,
her and Chopper's relationship is one of the highlights, I think, of just watching all 4 seasons of Rebels.
Peep this. Hera is not usually the one that commits extreme acts of violence. She's not. That's not her bag. She protects her people, she gets them out. Well, at one point in time, the Empire thought it was a really good idea to kidnap and mind control Chopper into being a bad guy. You remember that episode? Mm-hmm. And they sent him in as kind of like a spy, and they managed to rescue Chopper. They managed to purge the Empire from him. But in doing that, Hera winds up blowing up an entire ship of Imperial people by sending a feedback electricity zap. Like she straight up unalives an entire ship of Imperial computer people because they messed with her droid.
She tasered them.
She tasered them good. Yeah. You don't mess with Hera's family, but you really don't mess with her very first child, which is Chopper.
The Force wasn't with them.
The Force was not with them. The Force was with Hera because Hera is the Force in and of itself. Hera is Force. All right, so where do we put Hera? I actually struggle with where to put Hera. I think I know where I want to put her, but I do want to say that there's another house that I strongly think she could go in.
Okay, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Gryffindor.
Yeah. The like we said, she is a force. She is stubborn. She is brave. Like she matches all of the things. I do think she could also be a Ravenclaw. Um, just because she is also the smartest person in the group. Like she is definitely their brain.
But I tend to say that her tendencies are more towards
Oh, her
Gryffindor.
tendencies are definitely more towards Gryffindor, but I think she could be also a
Let's say she
Ravenclaw,
could be
maybe.
Ravenclaw adjacent.
That's the term we've used before. She's Ravenclaw adjacent, but definitely stronger in
Well,
Gryffindor.
I mean, all of these characters on Rebels could fit in any one of these
Mm.
houses. Yeah, I mean, honestly, they
Yeah.
really could. Um, except I know where Chopper's going.
Yeah,
So
me too.
anyway, next.
Next, we have Ezra. Ezra Bridger.
Ezra
Little
Bridger is
street
going to
race.
be the absolute hero of this next phase. If he's
Mhm.
not, Mr. Filoni, you're letting us down. Mr. Favreau, you guys need to understand that Ezra needs to be the next Luke without the crying.
Yeah,
Okay?
Ezra, oh my goodness. I loved live action Ezra.
Oh, yeah, live
He,
action Ezra was great. I can't wait to see what live action Ezra and live action Thrawn,
mhm.
their
What
interactions.
they
Because,
actually got to meet in Ahsoka, did they?
not in
I
Ahsoka,
don't think
no,
they
no.
a scene together in
No,
Ahsoka,
they didn't in Ahsoka.
which
But
is
some of those last episodes of Rebels with
mhm,
Thrawn and Ezra, Ezra has grown up. It is obvious that
mhm,
he is going to be one of the incredible, incredible Jedi leaders going forward. Certainly gets that whiny baby Luke's group out of the way,
mhm.
and Ezra is a strong, good character that I think many folks fans of the Force can get behind.
Oh yeah, Ezra, he got hated on a lot when he was first introduced. Like if you go back and look at some of the old posts about Ezra, you will see a lot of hate on him because he has a smart mouth. Like he duels Vader and sasses him. Like, bro, not the man to sass.
Yeah, but he's a
But he
teenager
grew
who doesn't know any better,
exactly. Bro,
and he's young in the Force,
yes, yes.
immature in the Force. That would be a good word.
After the second season, once they have a little bit of a time jump, he gets his hair cut and all that. He really does grow up and mature and becomes a far stronger in the Force.
Yeah, and once we don't see Kanan as much, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but once Kanan's not around, you see Ezra really coming into himself
Yeah.
as a Jedi.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay,
There's a reason he was number 3 in our favorite Jedi.
absolutely.
We
Yep.
love that little blueberry. All right, I think you're gonna disagree with me hard as to where I think. Oh, and by the way, Ezra was voiced by Taylor Gray, and I forgot to mention that Hera was voiced by Vanessa Marshall. I apologize for that. All right, I think I know where I want him. You good?
I'm good.
3, 2, 1.
Slytherin.
What?
Yeah, ambition, especially the first 3 seasons of Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the first 3. Don't think about the 4th season. Think about the first 3. I know you need to take all of it. Don't think about his appearance in Ahsoka either,
Okay,
because
make your
pride,
case and then I'll say
pride,
mine.
pride was definitely an issue and
Mm-hmm.
got into the way of
Especially with
his
Maul.
of his Jedi training.
Especially with Maul.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Certainly resourceful, or else he
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have been able to live on his planet by himself.
Mm.
Ambitious, he wants to be a Jedi. Once he realizes, yeah, I think he's Slytherin
He
all the
does
way.
also have a very strong self-preservation instinct.
Very strong.
My reasoning for Hufflepuff, he is fiercely loyal. Fiercely loyal. He works very hard with his Jedi training as well as with the rebellion, especially after the time jump. He is very kind. He is so kind to, like, remember the little snail
Oh
crab
yeah, yeah, yeah.
characters. He actively nearly gets left on the planet with Ahsoka because he wants to make sure that his little
Friends,
snail
yeah.
friends are taken care of. Humility is a little bit something he struggles with, but he does get there by season 4, and especially in Ahsoka. So I'm sticking with Hufflepuff, but I can definitely see the Slytherin.
I think he's Slytherin with Hufflepuff tendencies.
Again, break our tie down in the comment section below.
We love Ezra.
We love Ezra.
Yep.
All right. Up next, we have Sabine Wren, voiced by Taya Sircar. She is our resident Mandalorian, and
She's my least favorite character.
mm,
She's I like her as I do all of the Rebel characters, but as far as really being a meaty type character, I don't see her as being that meaty. Maybe they just didn't do enough focus episodes on her, and the fact she's a Mandalorian,
mhm.
she doesn't have this factor going about her. She's
She's
very subdued, very controlled,
yeah.
very
She's
Mandalorian.
the artist that's always painting graffiti.
And that's her rebellion.
Yeah.
That is her way of rebelling against all things Mandalorian is her creativity, her blowing things up, her art.
Yeah.
All of those are so anti-Mandalorian
Mhm.
because they don't want to draw attention to themselves.
Yeah.
They're fierce warriors.
She also has kind of a harsher backstory because she worked for the Empire.
Right.
For a
That's
while
true. That's
and
true.
created a literal death machine that was actively used against her people.
Right.
So it's not a good look, and that's something she struggles with. I will say I'm with you on Sabine kind of being my least favorite, but my reasoning is that we lose her for almost the entirety of season 3.
Right.
Because she's helping her family, she's helping with Mandalorians, and I don't know if that was just a story decision or if the actress needed a break for something, but because we lose Sabine, I'll be honest, on my first watch through, I forgot Sabine was part of the show for part of season 3 because so much was happening in season 3 with Thrawn and with everybody else. And I forgot she was
Yeah, they
there.
just introduced more memorable characters.
Yeah, and that's what.
And again, the Mandalorians really don't want to draw attention to themselves if
there's
they
a
can keep
reason
from
they're
it.
bounty hunters.
And that's just it. While she's still a part of the
She's a
Ghost
good
crew.
character. Don't get us
Absolutely.
wrong.
Yeah.
She's just not our favorite. So
Where do we put her?
I think I know what house I want her in. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Slytherin.
Mhm.
That's about as good as I can do. I mean, she's adjacent in all of these other houses.
You could make a strong case for Ravenclaw just on her creativity alone, but she does have an ambition. She does have a pride. All Mandalorians suffer from the sin of pride. That is just a fact.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that again, AWOL during most of season 3. That it just yeah, she could. And in I think it's Ahsoka, we see her coming along
as a Jedi.
And which kind of has you scratching your head just a little bit.
I really wish that had been better fleshed out through flashback, and I think we said something like that in our Ahsoka review.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not mad about it. I'm not one of these people that's mad about Sabine being a Jedi.
Oh no, absolutely not.
I'm down for a born Mandalorian being a Jedi because that's happened once in all of Jedi history. The dude who made the Darksaber was a born Mandalorian.
Right. But I tend to agree. Slytherin is probably the most like.
She's super cunning, super resourceful, and while her self-preservation is not always the strongest, she does have a sense of it.
She survives.
She survives. All right. Moving right along, we have Zeb. I am not pronouncing his full name again. Only Hera uses his full name, and that's when she's mad at him. Again, Groot mom. But Zeb, he is voiced by Steve Blum. He is hold on. I've got to remember what breed he is. I keep on wanting to call him Carabast, but that's his
swear word. That's his swear word.
That's his swear word. Lasat. That's what he is.
Yes.
He's a Lasat, which this was kind of the first time we saw this creature.
Yeah.
Or this race of being in Star Wars. I think he might have even been created for this, but the Lasat have been used outside of Zeb since.
Remind me, he's one of the last of his breed, is he not?
Technically, that's kind of a thing throughout because he does have the weight of the fact that he failed when the Empire came and kind of cleansed Lasan, which is his homeworld. But we find out, I think it's in season 3, he meets a couple of Lasats and there's a new Lasan Like they do this whole little spiritual guide thing, fly through a nebula, I think, and there's a whole new song where Lasats are thriving. It's a very beautiful episode for Zeb. And sadly Zeb doesn't get very many episodes focused on him where he gets to have a lot of rich character growth. Like all of his character stuff is usually in other people's episodes. Any other episode that focuses on him is usually a comedy buddy thing with either Ezra or Chopper. But like, don't get me wrong, I love Zeb. I love Zeb because here's the thing: he gets super annoyed with Ezra, but if you mess with Ezra, he'll kill you.
Dead meat, yeah.
You are dead meat.
The Force is no longer with you.
And that's true with any of the Ghost crew. He is so protective of all of them. And he was like, I want to say he was part of the Royal Guard or some sort of guard with his people before. And his relationship with Callus especially is where we get a lot of the rich character work with Zeb. One of my favorite episodes is that episode where he and Callus are stranded in the ice cave. Because it's an episode for Zeb, but it's also an episode for Callus, who we'll get to here in a little bit. So where do we put Zeb?
I got it.
I think I do too, but I think you're going to disagree with me. 3, 2, 1.
Gryffindor.
I was going back and forth between those. Again, mine is the sheer loyalty. He does have a good bit of humility. He is very kind to the people he loves. And my thing is that fierce loyalty also kind of becomes protectiveness. Like every Hufflepuff I've ever seen in Harry Potter, which is kind of limited to Newt Scamander and Tonks because they're the only ones that get, press. They are both fiercely protective.
Well, one of the things, I think either one of these houses. I mean, but Zeb is one of those characters that really doesn't fit a Ravenclaw or Slytherin. No. I mean, he is either Gryffindor
Hufflepuff
or Hufflepuff, one of the two. And I don't see him being really adjacent to either of the other two houses. But I think, honestly, Kristen, you're absolutely right. I struggled with not having him in Hufflepuff, but I just think his courage outweighs everything else.
Disagree. I just, again, the stronger ties feel like Hufflepuff.
Sure.
But what do you guys think? Are we insane for that? Does he actually belong in Slytherin? But tell us which one you guys think. But yeah, I absolutely agree. He could very easily go in both. I just think Hufflepuff is a little bit stronger than Gryffindor. But you are not wrong about his character.
Love the character.
Love Zeb. Love Zeb. He is a very cuddly, and I love, again, I do have to give props to the CGI team who brought him alive in Mandalorian. He was probably the best rendered, fully CGI character that Star Wars has done in a while.
It really was good to see him in that episode.
It was so nice. It was so short-lived, but they got Steve Blum back for his voice, and we were... Dad can attest, I nearly jumped off the couch and did a happy dance.
It was good.
Anyway, moving right along, we are on.
I know where this character's going.
On to our favorite insane mechanical menace, Chopper.
Was he our favorite droid?
No, you made me put R2 at number 1. Chopper was number 2.
Yeah, just because R2's in everything.
Yeah, you made me put R2 at number 1.
That's fair. You're right.
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you remember our Star Wars droids video from last year, correct me down in the comments below. But, okay, I want to say this first. Chopper has a very good reason for being the way he is. He has straight up PTSD from the Clone Wars. His Wily was shot down and he was left abandoned and found and put back together by Hera. So he grew up in Hera's house with Cham, who is a rebel.
Who?
Her dad.
Oh, yes.
He doesn't really seem to like her dad.
No.
Nobody likes her dad.
No, her dad doesn't seem to like him either, or anybody else for that matter.
Nobody seems to like Chopper except for Hera, though. And sometimes Sabine.
I think Ezra likes him.
Not when Chopper is zapping him. They spend the entire first season nearly killing each... No! Zeb hates him too! All of the boys really don't like him.
Shall we? Because I think this is pretty much a given.
3, 2, 1.
Slytherin.
He is the most Slytherin character to ever Slytherin. And he's a freaking droid. I will point out, though, Chopper is credited in the voices as himself. Chopper is voiced by Dave Filoni.
Which also adds such a great credence to the character and the character development. we hope we see Chopper. Chopper wound up in Ahsoka, and
was the best little babysitter of Jason.
Yeah, we really want to see more of all of these characters in the live action stuff that's coming down the pike. However, Chopper is so Slytherin.
Such a Slytherin,
he's
it hurts.
not adjacent to any of the others.
He is a Slytherin through and through.
Maybe some loyalty.
Just to Hera.
Just to Hera. Yeah, because he really doesn't give a rip about any of the other characters.
Kind of Kanan, just because Kanan is so tied to Hera.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to Hera, and now Jason. Because again,
true that
he's Uncle Chopper.
He's Uncle Chopper. Yep.
he's a very good babysitter. But
yeah.
Don't
that baby's gonna learn a lot of bad words.
Yes, because Chopper is such a potty mouth.
Yeah, you need to go to YouTube
and look up Chop Talk.
And look at Chop Talk. It's hilarious.
It is hysterical.
Make sure no one under the age of 18 is around, but it is funny.
It is so funny.
Chop Talk.
Chop Talk. Look YouTube. It up. I might link the playlist down below, but again, if you are under 18, you're not allowed to watch it.
Yep. One of our favorite characters of all of Star Wars.
We love Chopper.
Except for Hondo!
And Rex.
Okay, we had to get those in.
Yeah, always. And Rex does appear in Rebels, as does Hondo. Another reason it's one of our favorite shows.
Hondo would be a Slytherin, too.
Oh, Hondo would absolutely be a Slytherin. Yeah. I think Rex would definitely be a Gryffindor, though.
Okay, fair enough.
Personal opinion, he might also swing towards Ravenclaw, but we'll find out. Maybe we do Clone Wars next year for a sorting video.
We digress.
So we've got one more character.
More.
And Agent Kallus. I think his first name is Alexander, according to some media, but they never say his first name in the show. It's always Agent Kallus.
This is one of the absolute best redemption stories I think anyone has ever told.
I agree. Next to Gina from Once Upon a Time, I think Kallus is my favorite redemption arc.
It is one of those where when he comes to himself, if I can use biblical terminology, when he comes to himself, it is just
he's all in.
It's heartbreaking, and his determination to make amends for all that he has done and all that's transpired and all that has been at his hand even
like again, he and Zeb, he has one of Zeb's people's special shocky sticks.
Yeah, and it's his redemption comes through Zeb at a great much interaction with Zeb. And you love when you finally get that great reveal of who he is as Fulcrum.
I kid you not, I had been hoping for his redemption since the episode in the ice cave, because it is so clear that Zeb finally got through to him.
Yeah, you hate him before this.
He's our primary bad guy in season 1, and then Governor Price comes along in season 2.
And then Thrawn.
happens.
Delicious Thrawn.
Oh, Thrawn happens, and all bets are off. But he's just there in the background, just kind of, he's maybe making moves, and you're not sure if he's actually on our side. You think maybe he's just trying to pay forward Zeb saving his life, but then, oh no, this man is all in.
Yeah.
My only complaint is that we barely get any of him in season 4. And that's because season 4 was very, very focused on our core crew. He was hanging out up in the Ghost with Rex the entirety of season 4.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they bring this character back for any of the new iterations. Ahsoka season 2, any of the Mandalorian movie,
My one thing is that he is the one character where his voice actor sadly couldn't play him because his voice actor looks nothing like the animated counterpart. David, please,
Obayayo.
Oleo? There's no B.
Leo.
Leo.
Yeah, this is a great actor.
Oh, I love this actor so much.
He's a great actor.
And he's got such a great voice as Kallus as well.
Incredible voice.
I could see someone like Tom Felton maybe coming along and playing live action Kallus.
Yeah, but they'd have to do a voiceover.
Just dub the voice. Just cast somebody who looks like him and dub the voice just so we can get Kallus's actual voice. Because everybody else except for Hera and Sabine and Ezra, although Ezra's live action actor took pains to sound like himself.
It would have to be somebody who rocks mutton chops, though.
Yes! Oh, Captain Mutton Chops. That is what everybody called him.
Mutton chops. I mean, it's stylistically, it is so cool.
To protect the mutton chops.
It's one of those things that you're like, if he's Wolverine in the Star Wars universe,
But
and you're just like mutton chops. Somebody got to rock the mutton chops if they're going to play live action.
it still to this day cracks me up that his helmet when he's
Oh,
from the Empire
absolutely,
is
yeah.
designed to protect his mutton chops.
Designed to protect the
Not
mutton
his
chops.
nose, not his face, not his eyes. His mutton chops are what's getting protected
Hair
here.
is there, baby. It is there.
What? Oh gosh, what house do you go into, Callus? Ugh.
I know where I want him.
I know where I want him,
And
but I think
here's
you'll
the here's the,
disagree
here's
with me.
my and I'll tell you my rationale. My rationale is for the bulk of what we see of him.
Okay.
Is that
That's
fair?
yeah, that's fair. Three, two, one.
Slytherin.
Ravenclaw. Yeah, I knew you were gonna go
Yeah,
Slytherin.
just because for the biggest part of Rebels, which is what we're talking about
Yeah,
here, for
yeah,
the biggest part of Rebels, this guy's a putt.
yeah.
And it is obvious he is next to um, just all of these bad Star Wars
Mhm.
people. You mentioned Governor Price. Any of the really big bads.
He's always right there
He is always right there, and it's
until he
just.
comes over to the good side.
And then he does become much more. What did you say? Gryffindor,
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw. Okay.
My reasoning, and I'm still drawing from the previous seasons. He is very intelligent, which is part of Ravenclaw. He is very creative in some of the traps he
Yep,
sets for our core crew.
that's true.
He embraces his individuality by breaking away from the Empire. He is very witty. Some of his one
Very.
liners
You're right,
are
Kristen.
some of the best. As far as eccentricity, I mean, let's call it what it is. He leaves a very comfortable and lucrative life to go and live on Yavin and be a rebel.
Yeah.
That's eccentric for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, but I think we you look at the entirety of Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him being Slytherin with Ravenclaw tendencies.
And
I mean, and
I'm the opposite. I'm Ravenclaw with Slytherin tendencies.
I just,
Again, the Slytherin claws are always strong. Like that's always a thing. Slytherin and Ravenclaws, they are always
Slither claws.
Slither claws.
Wow.
That's what the hybrid
Okay.
is called.
Hybrid. You have hybrid houses?
We do.
I'm just barely making this happen. Much less hybrid houses.
We do.
Holy
There
mackerel!
are things where they like break down house friendships, and the one that's Slytherin and Ravenclaw, it says, "Be careful, they're taking over the world."
Wow, I can see that.
That is the power when you put a Ravenclaw and a Slytherin together. So
But I think
that's why those houses are usually so closely tied.
again, I would
when we
love,
do
love,
this
love
kind
to
of
see
thing.
a Callus live action
We would too, so
character,
much.
and just I'm not sure how you would work him in or anything. Maybe early on in
Well,
a
see,
later
here's the
season of
thing.
Andor, or
I
something.
could
I
see
don't.
him. What kind of again made me mad with Ahsoka is that he wasn't there with the politicians. Like that's
True.
where Callus should have gone, in
Yeah.
my opinion. He wasn't there with the politicians. He also wasn't there with Hera's crew. Maybe he was visiting the new Lyrasan, which is what they called
Yeah.
the new Lasat homeworld.
Right.
Um, but because the Lasats after the war, they kind of he wanted to go and make amends with them, and they wound up taking him in as one of their own,
Right.
according to Sabine's
Yes.
voiceover.
Right.
So maybe he was hanging out and helping Lyra Song get established as part of
Yeah.
the New Republic, but I think he should have been part of that council, maybe taking the place of our pilot buddy next to Chopper and being the one that's like, no, Chop, don't go swearing at the politicians.
Right.
Because let's be honest, Callus is also Chopper likes Callus. Chopper's the first one that says trust him. Trust him.
Because they're both Slytherin.
Chopper at the very least understands Callus.
Well, anyway.
But that's it. That's the cast of Rebels. What do you guys think? Please help us out with our tiebreakers down below. We had more of them than we normally do on this.
Yeah.
We
can't say enough about this television show.
We love Star Wars
It is
Rebels.
such an impact. Again, animated Star Wars, that wasn't even part of my vocabulary until, that's one of the good things that did come out of COVID. I got to see Clone Wars, which led into Rebels, which led into us loving Bad Batch. And, so Star Wars animation, yes, there's absolutely, absolutely, absolutely room for Star Wars animation still. However, man, the live action stuff, with a couple of exceptions, and we reviewed those not too long ago too. have really been top notch.
Yeah, the
A little
movies
slow
or
to start, but they
the
finish extremely well.
although I will say our top 3 Star Wars shows that we did when we first did Star Wars Month were number 3, Clone Wars, number 2, Bad Batch, number 1,
Rebels.
Rebels. If you can't tell, we're partial to that little trilogy.
Yeah, but we like the storylines. It's not even about. I mean, if those were live action and they kept those storylines, we'd love them just the same. Very much. That's kind of an interesting exercise. I was pretty excited about this one, with the exception of the creepy talking
This hat is Daddy's
hat.
nemesis. Let us know down in the comments if the hat needs to keep making a comeback. If you guys say no, leave the hat out so we can spare Daddy.
I have a very bad feeling about this.
Okay, if we get to 100 likes, the hat can be retired. So get us to 100 likes for Daddy's sake on this video. This video has to get 100 likes, and we will retire the hat for at least one sorting.
Okay.
Help Daddy out.
We'll see. It's just creepy.
All right, that is it for this week's episode of Star Wars Month at Crossing Kin. Tune in next week because we will have another one.
Don't forget, yeah, Star Wars Month is an entire celebration where every week during the month of May, we feature another Star Wars Crossing Kin. Normally, we're every other week, but for Star Wars Month, we make an incredible exception.
And so we will see you next week with a brand new video. But until we do, I'm Kristen.
I'm Randy, and from the Crossing King Garage, we want you to join us every week during Star Wars Month and every other week during the rest of the year because you're family.
Bye.
Later.